in the world happened today for the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service? Today is November 17th. On this day in 1869, Egypt played host to 6,000 foreign guests as the Suez Canal was declared officially open to traffic. In 1883 on this day, the first recorded relay race in America was run at Berkeley, California, when a demonstration team ran 2 miles in 9 minutes 51 seconds. It was not until 10 years later, however, that the first competitive relay race took place. President Gerald Ford began his first overseas tour since his inauguration this day in 1974. His itinerary included Japan, South Korea, and the Soviet Union. This day in 1981, Catherine Jean Whitmire, aged 35, became the first woman to be elected mayor of Houston, Texas. That's what in the world happened today for the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Good evening, I'm Air Force Sergeant Mike Miller. Entering the base tomorrow may take more time than usual, from 7:30 to 11:30 in the morning. Italian workers from our base and other military bases in Italy will be on strike. Because of the strike, we can expect picketers outside the gate and slower service at some base facilities.
Maybe slower lines in the cafeteria. The dining facility is going to be using paper plates. Only minor inconveniences. So we need to ask everybody to please be a little bit more patient. This is not going to affect the normal services and operations.
Although we'll have a temporary loss of Italian employees, school buses will be running on schedule, and we should be back to our regular routine by afternoon. Lieutenant Jeffrey also says we should avoid getting involved with the strikers or strike actions in any way.
We're asking everybody to remember that the Italian workers are part of our base community here. And this is a national strike, and we do need to treat them with all courtesy that we can.
All strike rumors should be reported to Rumor Control in the Public Affairs Office at extension 3344 or 3519. The Base Naval Security Group activity had its quarterly inspection and award ceremony yesterday afternoon in the Chapel Annex. Several sailors were recognized for their accomplishments. S.E.B's Michael Marsh attended the proceedings and files this report.
8 sailors assigned to NSGA were awarded for their achievements in a ceremony held inside the Chapel Annex. Before the presentations, Navy Commander Jack Lutz conducted the quarterly open ranks inspection, checking sailors closely for a neat and professional appearance. The first award recipient was Petty Officer Kim Spencer, who received his 3rd Navy Achievement Medal for superior performance during a major relocation of Navy equipment. Petty Officer Timothy Brandis got a plaque and a letter of commendation for his exemplary performance of duty and support of Navy Command programs. Letters of appreciation were given to Petty Officers Bobby Williams, John Butterfield, and Gregory Back. Also awarded was Petty Officer Glenda Williams, who got her first Good Conduct Medal. And receiving certificates of appointment to their current pay grade were Chief Petty Officer David Brady and Petty Officer 3rd Class Brian Woolever. For S.E.B. News, I'm Navy journalist Michael Marsh.
Every 2 years, a civilian electromagnetic interference measuring team comes to San Vito to record the level of electromagnetic noise. S.E.B's Pete Cassiano got a chance to talk to members of both the visiting and local EMI teams.
Electromagnetic noise is anything that covers up a signal you're trying to hear through communications equipment. And as visiting Team Chief Craig Walter told us, the origin of the interference can vary.
Mostly anything that man does electronically generates noise, and that can cause interference with shortwave radios, any type of communications. Anything the alarm can spark makes a noise. Ignition wires, spark plugs, not connected quite tight enough or so on, can produce quite a bit of noise. And if they keep them tuned up, the wires cleaned up, and that generally corrects things.
Measuring off base can be tricky, so the team keeps surveillance within 1 to 1.5 kilometers from the center of the Flare 9 antenna. When we caught up with the 2 EMI teams, they were in a nearby grape vineyard. Craig told us how he determines where they're going to listen for noise.
Mostly by the running of the civilian power lines in places that we would suspect things would happen. And if you notice behind you there's some series of high voltage power lines which do run across the base, and it also gives us some sort of directivity to the possibility of noise.
Tech Sergeant Paul Vickery is the chief of San Vito's interference team. He said the visiting team will fill out a report on their findings that will help the local maintenance section determine when and how to correct interference problems.
They provide the continuity necessary to show whether there's a actual decrease in the noise environment or an increase in the noise environment, so that we can take appropriate steps here locally to either contact the Italian people off base and have a tower replaced, an electrical insulator on a high power line or something like that that's creating a noise that is interfering with the Air Force communication systems.
Reports by people like Craig Walter and regular interference surveillance by San Vito's EMI team will only help to improve San Vito's part in the Air Force's worldwide communication system. For S.E.B. News, I'm Aaron Pete Cassiano.
The news continues following this.